Now, it's been a long time since I've spoken about Moza on the channel, which is kind of crazy because we go through periods where we speak about Moza a lot, but recently we haven't. And that's partly because Moza weren't at the Sim Racing Expo really. They didn't have their own stand with their own people. They had some products there with some partners, but not on their own. And in contrast, Fanatec did a massive launch for their Fanatec Podium DD, their 25 Nm wheelbase, and Simucube had a massive stand, loads of people there for their Simucube 3 Pro 25 Nm direct drive as well. So Moza got in touch with me and said, hey, we weren't there, do you want to look at the specs of our upcoming R25 Ultra True Torque DD compared with the Simucube and the Fanatec? So I said, yeah, we'll have a look at it. So this is a sponsored video by Moza, but they haven't seen this video. There's nothing I have to say or not say. We're going to be critical of all these bases. We're going to look at the spec sheet. We're going to see what's announced. We're going to see what we're concerned about. It's going to be really exciting for sim racers. We're going to eat at 25 Nm, let's be real. But which is going to be the best out of these three? We can't say in this video, but we can work out what we're going to look for in reviews and the initial coverage, because these are all still essentially unreleased wheelbases. You can't take delivery of the Simucube 3 Pro right now, I believe. Same with the Fanatec and the same with the Moza. So let's get into it. Let's start with the torque. So they're all 25 Nm wheelbases, but one's a bit different, I believe. So the Moza R25 is 25 Nm sustained, they say on their website. So that is a sustained 25 Nm. I'm going to answer the question right now. Do you need 25 Nm? No, you don't need 25 Nm. In my opinion, no one needs 25 Nm. The way you'll understand 25 Nm, and let me know in the comments if you agree with this or not, and also if there's anything that you disagree or agree with in this video. But I feel like 25 Nm is when you've had an 8, a 9, a 10, 11 Nm wheelbase for a few years, you're naturally just going to want a little bit more about it. And that might be less clipping, although that's pretty subjective. That might just be the feeling that you know you can really turn it on. That might be the feeling that you know you've just got a really powerful piece of equipment. I've got a Moza R16 here. I've got a Simucube 2 Pro on the floor as well. It's kind of nice just knowing that you've got these big, heavy-duty wheelbases, but you don't need it. Like for a lot of people, a Moza R9 is going to be absolutely fine because ultimately you're going to be running your force feedback at about 8 or 9 Nm. Case in point, when I went to the SimLab stand at the Sim Racing Expo, they were running their wheelbases in iRacing at about, well, when I turned up, it was about 4 Nm. I said, let's crank it up, let's double it. We went to about 8. It does feel a bit stronger than running, say, a 9 Nm at 8 Nm, that makes sense, because it's just inherently a stronger wheelbase. It can also go above that at certain moments, but it's not something that's absolutely necessary. But here we are with 25 Nm. Now the Simucube 3 Pro from the Simucube website says it's up to 25 Nm. So I'm not sure that's going to be sustained. And it's worth bearing in mind that it's a Simucube 3 Ultimate that has a brand new motor. That's a 35 Nm for the Ultimate. But the Pro, it says 25 Nm max. However, the Fanatec Podium DD says 25 Nm holding. And they say, and I went to the Sim Racing Expo and I asked the product manager for this, they say 33 Nm overshoot. So I said peak, he said, no, that's not right. It's like a very temporary overshoot in like milliseconds, basically. So 25 Nm holding for Fanatec, 25 Nm sustained for Moza, 25 Nm max for Simucube. For the 3 Pro, obviously we'll ask Simucube like whether that can also sustain 25 Nm. Whether it's important you can sustain 25 Nm, again, I don't think it's that important. You're not going to be sustaining it for strong periods of time because I wouldn't be able to hold 25 Nm. So I think, again, it's just like a tolerance thing. It's a bit like if you drive a Porsche, you know it can do 160 miles an hour, but that's fine when you're on the motorway, you know it's going to absolutely cruise at 70. So I think that's maybe a way to explain it, but it's something that's not spoken about enough. I think a lot of people are just going to look at numbers and say, yeah, this is better because it's got a big number. I don't think so. I actually flew out to SimLab and I did a blind test with the SimLab 26 Nm, but they were also making a 39 versus a 25. And again, we had it kind of at a level that I could actually drive it, not at those massive high points. Let's get into pricing now. We have prices for 2 of these, not pricing for 1. So the Moza looks to be $900. And I think this is a trump card for Moza. I think this is why they said, hey, do you want to look at the spec sheets and make this video? Because $900, I don't think anyone's going to compete with. I think this is going to be one of those Moza products where they just are so competitive on price. So $900 for the R25 True Talk from Moza. The Simucube, either $1,600 or $1,700. I've had a look at it. I think it's because you need the Simucube Link Hub to use the Simucube 3 Pro. So if you have one already, then you don't buy it. If you don't have one, you need to add $100. This is what the Simucube Link Hub looks like, by the way, just so you know. There's been a lot of kind of discussion about this, what it actually is. It has Ethernet here. So you plug everything into an Ethernet switch, then one cable from Ethernet switch into here, and then there's one cable that goes to your PC. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as some people make out. If you get an Ethernet switch, you're just plugging everything into it, and it's one cable and one cable. But it's again this kind of Appleification of Simucube that is going to be very controversial. But I just wanted to show you what the Link Hub looks like. But anyway, we're talking $1,600 or $1,700 versus $900 for the Moza. That is absolutely insane. That is a big difference. The Fanatec Podium DD, we don't have the price for yet. But this can't be cheaper than the Fanatec Club Sport DD Plus. So this is going to be surely well over $1,000. Well over $1,000. But I can't say yet because the price has not been confirmed. But again, I feel like the Moza is almost certain to beat the Fanatec on price here. Right, moving on to encoders now. And the Moza has a 21-bit magnetic encoder. But the Simucube 3 Pro has a 23-bit encoder. So we've got 23-bit on Simucube, 21-bit on the Moza. And I don't know what it is on the Fanatec. I couldn't see in the details. I have driven the Fanatec, but I couldn't see in the materials what the encoder is. I'd expect it's going to be 21-bit minimum. Now let's move on to quick releases. Again, this is where it gets a little bit different. There's some more differentiation. And I think there's a wider point here. And again, this video, I'm looking through the spec sheets and kind of comparing it on paper. And I think that looks pretty favorable for Moza because the pricing is so aggressive. And the other stats are pretty similar, even when they're not the best stat, like the encoder, they're pretty close. But I think sim racing is going to go in a direction where it's going to be a lot more about software. We'll actually get on software, and I think we're going to start to see diminishing returns through the hardware. So just worth bearing that in mind. So it's going to be software and other kind of like quality of life features, which is why this is so important. Either this is a good quality of life feature, or it's a bad quality of life feature. So it's very important in terms of the quality of life, how we assess these features. So let's talk about the quick release. The Moza is going to have the standard Moza QR. So that's the QR that basically seems to be the same in all their wheels, including the Lamborghini wheel behind me right at the top of the range. Seems to be essentially the same as the one from the ES rim at the bottom. The Simucube 3 Pro is going to have the Simucube Link quick release. Now this is interesting. I spoke to a lot of people at Sim Racing Expo to understand this. I've actually interviewed the CEO and the founder of Simucube. I've interviewed the CEO of Bavarian SimTech, who's made some wheels for Simucube 3 Pro. It's also working on something cool with Moza, by the way. So you have to look out for that in that video. But essentially, the Simucube Link quick release is very controversial. It's a new quick release. But from what I understand it actually transmits data optically to the wheel. And the wheel, for example, if you have a screen or something, it's rendering that on the wheel. So it's a different way of doing it other than USB. And that's where Simucube are going. Simucube are trying to move away from USB. So the only USB connection you actually have is from your link hub into the PC. Anyway, that's controversial. It limits the amount of wheels you can have that take advantage of that technology. Whereas the Moza system, there's actually a wide variety of wheels that are just going to still work on the R25 Ultra. Now for Fanatec, they've gone for QR2, as you might expect. That means a wide range of things because we have the QR2 Lite, we have that top of the range QR2, the gold one, and some wheels have limitations if you use a light one. So they've gone for QR2. Interestingly, the SimLab system seems to almost be like a reverse Fanatec QR system, if I was understanding it correctly at the Sim Racing Expo. And the Fanatec is also going to have full force. So now we're getting into software stuff. So Simucube are talking a lot about telemetry. That's very controversial at the moment, and that's very subjective as well. Full force, I don't think should be controversial. I just think full force, like true force, is just better than not having it. You have to really adjust it. I think a lot of people are going to have it way too high and think it's a gimmick. No, you need to kind of, I've done videos on True Force and on Full Force. In iRacing, they're both basically called True Force in the settings, even for Fanatec. So that's I think a good feature for Fanatec. Simucube's got the telemetry and stuff like that. Moza have some other stuff they're working on. We'll have to see what they're doing in terms of like that additional fidelity, because all very well having the hardware, but let's see what they do with that additional fidelity. Now, strictly in the software, so the software for these wheelbases, Moza, you're going to have Pit House. So I'm sure a lot of people will be familiar with Pit House. Simucube, you're going to have Simucube Tuner. And for Fanatec, it's now the Fanatec app. I'd say at the moment out of those three, the Fanatec app is the roughest one. Let me know if you disagree with that. The Fanatec app does work for me, but it's a little bit rough. Also, the way the wheelbase cycles through stuff. But you know, it works. I like the feature where you can test full force by holding the left shifter, and you can test it. Simucube Tuner probably is the best software. Like the Simucube Tuner software is very, very, very good. And then I put Moza Pit House in the middle. But there should be a big battleground on software here as well. In terms of platform compatibility, Moza R25 True Talk on PC only. Simucube 3 Pro on PC only. I believe the Fanatec Podium DD will work on Xbox if you have an Xbox compatible rim. That's quite cool. Do you need a 25 Newton meter if you're on Xbox? That's the wrong way of putting it. If you're spending enough money to have a 25 Newton meter wheelbase, you probably should be pairing it with a PC to have the best sims available. That's how I would phrase that question. So that is a nice feature. I don't think it's as relevant as, say, like a €500 wheelbase having Xbox compatibility, where I say that's a real massive plus. In terms of extras as well, so I wanted to pick out a few extra things. So the Moza R25 has these telemetry RGB strips. Looks similar to what we've seen on the Acetec wheelbases. I actually interviewed the CEO of Acetec the other week, and he said some people call it a gimmick. I said I don't think it's a gimmick because it is telemetry driven. So Moza's going down the same road there. Simucube 3 Pro, I believe, comes with a 3-year warranty. I think that's huge. I think a 3-year warranty is massive from Simucube for the Simucube 3 Pro. So that's an extra from Simucube. And the Fanatec Podium DD, it has a compatibility with the Fanatec wheels, the Fanatec ecosystem. That's a pro and a con, because it's not going to be, you can't use those Fanatec wheels on anything other than Fanatec wheelbases. But I just want to put that out there. So let me know what you think of all the stats and stuff I packed into this video. We're about to see a load of content, I'm sure, on all three wheelbases. Fingers crossed I'll be getting all my hands on all of them as well and can let you know. But yeah, pricing is big right now. We know that. But don't forget about software. Don't forget about the software experience. And there's a lot of investment that also goes into software. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Some crazy videos coming on the channel.